Uh-oh. Ah, ah, ah. Uh-oh.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home and podcast time.
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam. You'll my co-host Jordan. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Adam. How are you doing?
The long and winding road.
Trying not to break down right now.
That leads to your door. Jordan, we're kind of here in the home stretch.
It's going to be a long 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Emotional 3 episodes.
How you feeling?
You know, I wondered as I was watching these two today, or yesterday when I watched them, I was like, am I going to cry while watching this? I didn't, but I thought well, I don't want to spoil anything, but...
I don't want to spoil part 2, but I was moved. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Moved.
So yeah, it's obviously a big time for us. Like you said, we're down the home stretch. We've got 3 episodes left. Spooktacular's already in the can, so that's ready. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those things where what are we going to do with all this free time?
Yeah, all this 2 hours we'll have under. I mean, for you, it's probably a little more valuable, but
Not that much, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna be flushed with time, flushed with cash at the end of this podcast.
Yeah,
and,
we're just gonna, take our money and invest it in the stock market.
Well, you had talked about that big trip to Aruba, but I guess
Jamaica.
COVID's probably
I wanna take you. No, we don't have any of that.
Are you buying a second house, or how's that gonna work?
It's for you, just for you.
Next door.
There's a couple for sale in the neighborhood, so you could always come down here. I think you floated a couple ideas by me of potential podcasts in the future. We haven't come to an agreement.
I suspect we'll choose none of them. This will be it.
Seems like we're gonna be at an impasse for a little while, but
that's all right. That's okay.
But yeah, this is Home and Podcast, and
This
so
is
we're going to talk
Home
about
Podcast,
home improvement.
And we talk about the show Home Improvement. And that's that. And, it's been a wild season. It feels like this season we've been covering it for a couple of years. It's been a roller coaster, ebbs and flows, both in, emotional impact and just quality of episode.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot has happened. A lot has happened, obviously.
2 straight episodes of the struggles at the beginning, but...
I tell you what, man. I mean, it's life is a struggle these days, but a lot has happened, and, we're here at the end, sifting through the waters, trying to make sense of the end of this show that they sort of decided they were just going to abruptly try to tie everything in a bow.
I mean, do we think this had something to do? I don't remember the contract talks, and are they going to come back for a 6th season? Are they not? Do you think it had something to do with that, where it was just like finally a conclusion was known as they were writing, and they're like, okay, well, now we got to wrap it up?
Sure, get that feeling. I don't know that there's a way to really find out, but yeah, it does sort of have the feel of like they were around episode 17, 18, just kind of doing regular standalone home improvement stuff, and then they had to be like, oh, well, she's not coming back, and like we can't do it without her, so we have to wrap it up. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has that feel.
It's not like, I don't know, they announced their last, like, I feel like, didn't The Office do that? Like, it's one last season or whatever, and we'd all know going in or whatever.
Right.
So, you don't have that feel here, but we're still going to cover the last few episodes, and we're going to see how they did and judge them, and our word will be the last comment on the subject, because I don't think there will be another Home Improvement podcast.
This is the definitive Home Improvement podcast. There are imitations out there, lesser imitations.
Nothing like the real thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're the first ones to finish. No one ever cares about the 100th
person
guy
up Mount Everest.
To scale Everest. It's about the first guy, which, off the top of my head, Sir Edmund Hillary, I believe. So we are the Sir Edmund Hillary of Home Improvement podcasts. Quote me on that. Put that on a T-shirt. Put that on the poster. What are we covering this week?
This week, we are covering episodes 201 and 202, the long and winding road, part 1 and 2.
201 episodes. We're still good at reading and talking.
Still good at it. This one written by Lori Gelman. or these two, I suppose. Ploys for Tots was the last one they did. Boy, when the twins were a much bigger part of the show, and I'm so glad they're not anymore. This aired 2 separate weeks, so you've got the cliffhanger between the May 18th and May 25th, 1999. Title based on a 1970 song written by Paul McCartney, and the last #1 hit of the Beatles in the U.S.
Good song.
Yeah. There's a goof here. I don't really think it's worth mentioning, actually. It's talking about, like, Tim states that he built the house, but earlier, like, continuity says,
You know what? I caught him saying that, and I was like, news to me.
News to me, but I don't care.
Yeah, but, like, what are you going to do?
In a metaphorical sense, he built this house,
I mean, the house was there before, but yeah, he really built, the warmth of his family and the boys growing up, that kind of built it,
Yeah, and just all of the money that they had to add additions and rooms in the basement.
Yeah, and literally, like, adding on. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. So we've got 2 parts, and you said we've got 2 episodes to make alternative titles for, so let's do part 1.
I did, yeah. I just want to say Laura Gilman. I think there was a little bit of a pause from you, maybe waiting for me to give you a little Regis Gilman, but out of respect to Reg,
I actually didn't pause this time.
Okay, well, maybe I was wanting you to pause so that I could say this, but I've retired the Gilman bit out of respect to Regis. So
much has happened in the 4 years that we've recorded this podcast.
I know. I never thought I'd have to retire that, but I have to, out of respect to Reg.
Mm-hmm. And with respect to Reg, respect to the show, let's do our alternative titles.
You're real tongue-tied today, aren't you?
I'm just emotional. I'm also watching my daughter on a baby monitor, hoping she falls asleep. So
that is and I'm also watching your daughter on a baby monitor. I wasn't supposed to say that.
Pretty creepy.
5 alternative titles for me, Jordan.
For the first one, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, let's do part 2 after we're done with this episode, right?
So you've got 5 and then 5 more.
No, 5 and
1.
4 more.
Oh, jeez. You really are an overachiever. Okay, I've got 3, so go ahead.
The Long and Winding Road Part 1, a.k.a. Tools Gone Wild.
That's a really good one.
Thank you.
This is probably my best of the 3. An offer she couldn't refuse.
Like it. How about Timmy Springer?
End of the Road is my other one.
Pretty boilerplate, Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're on the cars, road, whatever.
The Short and Abrupt Road. Are you done, or do you have more?
I got one more, and it's just role reversal.
Ooh, interesting. You've heard of Max Keeble's big move? How about Mark Taylor's big move? And then my last one is...
Is that the lesser-known sequel?
It might be better than the original, to be honest.
That's true.
Yeah. Last one, Hoosier Hubby.
Hey, that's a good one, too.
Thank you.
You came to play here. All right.
Yes.
So I imagine we'll spend more time on part 1 than part 2, but I don't know, because part 1's an actual episode, part 2 is half of an episode. But...
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm glad we combined this into one, because part 2 would have been tough to do a standalone on, so.
Agreed. All right,
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, let's start with part 1. We open at the Taylor home, and they're starting the sentimental stuff immediately. So we open on an old family photo of the show, basically, 8 years ago when it started with the boys, when they were first starting.
I was thinking how funny it would be if they cropped JTT out.
They just put Wilson's face on it or something?
Yeah, it's just like Sharpie.
I feel like they've done this before, like this specific photo, but I just can't really remember when. Maybe it was like, when JTT had the cancer scare, or maybe, I don't know. It just felt like we've done this before. But we zoom out to present day, and we see the boys growing up, sans JTT, right? He's out of the picture. Tim comes in, and he is fuming right away because Morgan wants him to do a whole show without tools, just talking. And he's trying to explain to everyone, what's got his goat here, but no one's listening. Everyone's got their own thing going on. And starting with Marty, I imagine this is one of Marty's final appearances. I don't know. Does he have more?
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure he's in the last one. I'm sure he's at the wedding.
Okay. Well, they're going to wrap up his story right here because he's putting a deposit on a new apartment. So, finally.
See, now, we talked about what they might do if the show were to continue, but this would have been a great episode. Marty's apartment.
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's in like some really shady part of town.
Oh yeah, it's like a roach motel that he is like renting a room at for a month. Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, along with Marty, not paying attention because he's got an important haircut with Pablo. Yeah. They have an intimate relationship apparently, and so Tim finally appeals to Mark, but he is watching a cooking show called Ragin' Cajun. Mm-hmm. Which I guess is a callback to all the cooking success that Mark has had.
They really half-assed all that, I gotta be honest. Like, that's, yeah. You could easily have forgotten all of that, even if you watch the show consistently.
Yeah, I didn't remember it until right now. I actually didn't remember it watching it, so it just kind of came to me now. So yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. In comes Jill, and she will listen. Finally, someone who will listen. But the phone rings, and it derails her, and we hear that Dr. Hanover is on the phone, and she has to schedule a meeting. She doesn't know what the meeting is about or what it could even mean, and she goes to worst case scenarios, and to cool off she has to go run a hot bath, and Tim left alone again while he's most vulnerable.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It's a tough spot right now for the Taylors.
Makes you wonder what'll happen next. Tool time. Al's late. We're behind the scenes here. Al's late. He's packing up his mother's house. I don't know if you remember, but she died last week. He's very nervous. The wedding is only 2 days away. Fast.
Things are moving quick around here.
Morgan is backstage, and his big idea is Tim talk. You know, we mentioned this earlier, but no tools, just talking. So the show starts, and it's like they're continuing on with like the Binford, like, I don't remember exactly what they say, but it's just the addition of Binford a ton. So it's like,
right.
Tim introduced himself as Tim the Binford Toolman. Maybe they even say Tim the Binford Toolman or something, but
I think so.
They're really driving that home, which I actually think is kind of funny. Like, it's just so over the top.
Mm-hmm. You notice the over the top applause here?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's the audience knows we're in the finale. So like they introduced Tim, raucous applause. They introduced Al, raucous applause.
I mean, like, it would be cool to be there at the end, but I don't know. If I'm there for this scene, I'm kind of bummed out because it's just like, it's not what you want out of Tool Time. I mean, that's the point, but like, I don't know. If you were a live studio audience, it would be kind of a bummer.
They brought in an extra big applause sign, so you didn't have a choice.
That's true. Tim can't really hide his disdain for Binford. It's just a different show now. It's kind of and they don't really call attention to this, but this is just like, this really sort of, for me, marked how much time has passed throughout the show. So like, he's saying like, if you don't like how this show goes, you should email Morgan. You know, the old gag was always like, write letters to this address, but he gives Morgan's email, which is just kind of an interesting sort of reminder of technology and communication and stuff.
Yeah, early 90s to late 90s.
Yep, for sure.
Interesting.
They're doing home repair addicts, and they got three dudes who come out, and I don't have any of their names, and I'm not...
Robbie, Dan, and Butch.
Okay, I'm not doing their bios, though. Their wives are also in the audience, kind of watching them. These guys are repair addicts, and I guess it's like they touch their tools too much, so it's sort of like a double entendre, sort of a gross thing. And we are just really parodying the Jerry Springer stuff here. So these guys get asked a series of questions, and they kind of, I think they sort of start to badmouth their wives a little bit. Or maybe their wives just don't like what they're hearing. But the first wife stands up, and she's really mad at her husband.
This sounds exactly what the script probably said. No, it's just like, I don't know. It could be any generic thing. Like, he's talking about, like, drywall, and she's like, yeah, that's not all that happened. It's just like, I don't know. It's not a great scene.
It's hard to be critical of this because it's purposefully supposed to be kind of bad. So,
yes,
like, I don't, it's hard to know where to land on this. Another wife stands up. Butch's wife, he's into lubrication. The third wife stands up, and she's really mad, too. And this is when she drops an F-bomb. And they bleep it out, and it's really like, I've said this before of late, but not my home improvement, man.
No,
this is crazy.
It's so weird.
And again, I know that's the point, but it's just wild. Then the husband swears back at her, and they go wild, and you know, Morgan's kind of egging him on. woman pushes Heidi as she storms the stage. We find out one wife has been cheating with another husband there, and then they just start fighting, and a wig gets pulled off, and it's just crazy. It is truly Tools Gone Wild.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like you talk about finales, and there's like going out like classy, and then there's going out like in a dumpster fire. And this first scene here, or I guess second scene.
Are you talking about Tool Time going out or Home Improvement the show going out?
Just like TV shows in general. Just like
Okay.
iconic finales, kind of like a satisfying ending. I'm glad that this happens early in the episode.
Yeah.
Because
Get it
like
out of the
if this were how you ended the series, like, it would feel awful.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I think it kind of falls into, there's two camps for how you can like end a sitcom or end a TV show. Like, you either do the thing where like things continue as is, and like everything, the status quo sort of remains. It just sort of ends. Like people don't move away, jobs don't change, like a business doesn't close, like a family doesn't move. You just sort of end the show. Or you can do what they do in Home Improvement, or like Seinfeld or something. Like Home Improvement, they're going to move to Indiana. Seinfeld, they go to like prison or something. And I feel like these crazy kind of endings where everything changes and stuff are always a lot less satisfying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people would have probably just been so much happier if Tim continues on Tool Time, Jill gets a good job in Detroit, maybe the kids go off to school or whatever, but they stay in the house, Wilson's there, and things are just sort of status quo. I don't know. That's just sort of something I was thinking about.
Yeah. Because it's almost like, okay, now we're starting a whole new show. What's happening here?
Right, yeah, like nobody wants this, but, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, it's as messy as Morgan wants it to be, right? And we move post-show, and Morgan loved everything about it. Like we said, he staged all of it, and Tim, that was the straw that broke Tim's back, and he says
the Timmy's back.
Timmy. 2 humps for Tim. He can't do this anymore. And Morgan says, we'll get to blow up stuff and build stuff eventually.
Build crap.
Build crap eventually. So obviously he does not care about Home Improvement. He just cares about ratings. Mm-hmm. And he threatens to replace Tim here. Things escalate quickly because Tim's obviously pretty hot and bothered. Al and Heidi jump to Tim's side here, which is, it's good to see them in solidarity, because I feel like we've seen sometimes Al just kind of like toe the company line.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Tim wants to escalate things to whoever's in charge of Morgan, which was Bud, but we learned that Bud has been let go, and Morgan is now the head honcho, so Tim's really in a bind.
Yep. I like it. They say, like, Tim says something about channel 112, so it's kind of cool to find out what channel Tool Time was on.
I actually read some sort of goof that said, like, he said it was channel 122 and it was 112, so that was like...
Oh, okay.
Somebody misspoke or whatever, but whatever. That's the channel.
All right, cool.
Maybe it depends on your cable provider.
You know what? These things can vary. Home. Tim comes home. Jill she has a meeting with Dr. Hanover that she's prepping for. Or she's
getting ready to leave.
Okay. He's dropping the news. He tells her that he quit. Intentionally start fires and he loses credibility. I don't know what that means.
Tim was making a joke that said, like, if I start intentionally starting fires now, I'm going to lose all credibility, because that's what Morgan wants him to do on the show. That
is always funny when he says that. Like, Tim is mad because he wants him to, like, intentionally,
and he's authentically an idiot, basically.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, Al and Heidi quit too. He's going to do one more show for the fans. And, he's kind of just talking through his emotions. He hopes he can land on his feet. Jill's concerned about what they're going to do for money, they've
got 3 mortgages to pay for.
I know, a bunch of cars. I mean, just a bunch of cars and college. And Tim says, he can work at the hardware, sell cars. He's got a couple different ideas. And, Jill has to go to her appointment, so she's kind of got to leave in a rush here. But, it's a real... we just don't know what's going to happen next, Jordan. It's a real conflict here.
Yeah, it's one of those moments in life where it seems like everything happens
doors?
at once. Huh?
Sliding doors?
Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen? What could have been? This could be how they would have ended the show, as you're talking about, if they did leave Tool Time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's meeting time with Dr. Hanover, and as Jill is wont to do with Dr. Hanover, she puts her foot in her mouth right away. it's kind of a weird conversation where they're talking about like affairs or something, and it's not, I don't know, not a conversation you want to even joke about, really.
I was gonna say it wouldn't fly in today's workplace.
No. We find out why she's there. Dr. Hanover has recommended her for a job. So somebody came in, some famous person.
How bad were the other candidates? Because she's not, I'm sure she's done great work, but she's not been the easiest person in this program, I wouldn't say.
Maybe it's a small program. Not many people to
program
recommend.
Program of one.
So there's a family clinic that this guy started, and he wants her to be a part of the adolescent wing chapter or whatever of that clinic. And Jill instantly thinks about money because that's what's on her mind, right? Her husband just lost her job. And then she kind of explains because Dr. Hanover is getting a bad taste in his mouth, I think. And he says, it's going to be some money, but not enough to support a family of 5. Does she have to support a family of 5 anymore?
Fair question.
I mean, Randy, we don't know what kind of supplemental income Randy's getting in Costa Rica or what he needs.
Maybe they're just paying him like small seeds. As far as I'm concerned, you could just drop Mark off on the way down to Bloomington. Just drop him off in Fort Wayne and have him fend for himself.
See if he survives.
Fall into goth culture, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Brad's going to be soon in California, so maybe you send him some money, but for the most part.
I have some questions about Brad and UCLA. How did that become a done deal?
What do you mean? He played so well.
Yeah, this guy was we'll be in touch, and now it's he's definitely got a scholarship.
No, it was pretty clear at the end of the episode that he's getting a scholarship.
And when was that? When was that made clear? I missed that part.
The guy was pretty clear about it. When he
scored the goal, and the guy was like, "Well, I've seen all I need to see. His knee's fine."
Yeah, that was it. That's all you needed. I don't know why. Where's the ambiguity there?
I mean,
Adam, you've gotten scholarships. I know.
Sure.
I know there was no letter sent to.
Yes, there was.
No, I'm saying for Brad. I'm saying there wasn't one.
Oh,
but yeah. I think that kind of happened behind the scenes here. They don't.
Hey, yeah. Have you ever heard of show don't tell? Come on.
I feel like there's not enough things, or not enough time for them to do that the way this ends up wrapping
up. All right.
So.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for him, but they kind of yada that, but that's all right.
Anywho, I mean. I think they could probably figure it out. I don't know. She's got to have some money coming in from this job. It's not like she's going to be making $15,000 a year, right? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? The catch for the job, Adam. It's a dream job, but the catch is you'd have to move to Indiana. And the show stops.
That was a soundboard of the car crashing. Yeah, dream job? I don't know about that, man.
For her.
Is your dream job one that you are not making that much money? I don't know.
Depends. I mean, she's been working for presumably 8 seasons. Trying to become a psychologist.
The culmination of this 8-year master's program is a job that doesn't pay it well.
And you know what? Yeah. As someone who, when they graduated, I didn't obviously get is she getting her doctoral degree? I don't remember. Is it master's or whatever? Yeah. But you graduate and you think, oh, I'm going to get a job in my field. And that didn't happen for me.
Jordan, I definitely cannot relate to what you're saying at all. So,
yeah. So I think people understand that any job in your field might seem like a dream job sometimes.
Well, Indiana, yuck, am I right? Home.
I got family in Indiana, man.
I lived in Indiana for 5 months after college when I was an internship in Indianapolis.
That hospital didn't know it hit them.
Hospital Association. My sister, she went to IU, so I've actually spent a lot of time. I think Indiana it has some nice pockets overall. You definitely would rather be in the state of Michigan for sure, but it's okay. Home. Tim's on the phone. He's trying to. I guess he's trying to set up a new car business already.
He's trying to get the wheels in motion for the classic car shop that he wants.
Dare
to open.
I say, kicking the tires? Jill comes home. He wants to start a classic car shop on Woodward, probably pretty close to where Brad got into that accident.
Probably. I do like the mention of Sparky here. Sparky's in the know.
Gone but not forgotten. Jill tells him the news, and he just kind of says no. Can't move. Indiana, no deal.
It's not a good look for Tim here.
not great. It's almost as if he's learned nothing over the last 8 years. He said he can't move based on potential and what might be. Can't follow sports down there.
Oh,
which
yes.
would have been a lot harder then, mind you, but still not a good reason.
No, he's grasping for straws here.
He says, I built this house. I did have a note I didn't know he built it. She wants to discuss it, but he just kind of says no. That's it.
Yeah, he puts the foot down. It's not great.
Well,
and they say Bloomington specifically is where this clinic would be. Like you said,
Bloomington is a great city. Spent a lot of time in Bloomington. Really nice place, nice college town. Southern Indiana is a lot different than Metro Detroit, but if you're going to go to Indiana, Bloomington's the place to go. For what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Outside, with Wilson, hosing off his rocks. Should we play a clip? Should we click a do?
Did you want to play a click? All right.
Click, boom.
Hey, Wilson.
Well, hi-ho, Tim.
What are you doing?
Just hosing off my rocks.
If your shower's broken, you can use ours.
No, Tim. I'm washing the rocks that I gathered on my hiking trip to Whitefish Point. So, what's going on with you?
Well, for starters, I quit my job.
Tim, you quit tool time after 10 years?
They were making too many changes, Wilson. I just had to let it go.
Well, I am sorry to hear that.
Gets worse. I told Jill I quit, and she told me she wants to move to Indiana.
Jill is leaving you because you lost your job?
No. She was offered a position in Bloomington.
Oh, I'm gathering you didn't take too kindly to that.
I didn't even want to discuss it. Abandon my mom and my brothers, uproot my boys in a critical time in their development.
You don't want to leave your mechanics.
It's not just my mechanics. No, it's Barry Sanders and Grant Hill and the riverfront and Polish food and then my barber. It's change. It's big change.
Well, change is often difficult for everybody, Tim. But on the other hand, if you are going to leave tool time, this might be a good time for you to support Jill.
Truth is, my family's always been based around me and my career. I never really thought about what would happen if,
You never thought you'd be making the same sacrifices for Jill as she did for you.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Tim, these are perfectly normal feelings you're having. Traditionally, the male is the leader of the family. It's very difficult for him to give up that position to the female.
Ugh. There's a nasty thought. Me and hair curlers. Little moo-moo walking around the house. Think we should make the move?
I would never want to lose you as a neighbor. But you and Jill have to do what's best for you two.
Yeah, we do.
You do. Well, I guess I better get back to hosing off my rocks.
Yeah, and I better get back inside and try to save mine.
Tim, he shares all the news here.
Great click, by the way.
Beautiful click. One of the best I've ever seen. Tim is afraid of this big change, and this is the only place he really knows. And I guess, I assume he's been there for 30-some years, 20-some years now, right? Mm-hmm. It would be hard. We can sympathize with Tim here.
Yeah.
But he never thought he'd be making the sacrifices that Jill made. Wilson says traditionally, men are used to being the main provider. So when this is kind of flipped on its head, which it's not clear to me that's going to be flipped on its head because it sounds like Jill's not going to make enough money to be a provider. I don't know.
Right.
But
it's also just a weird one because Tim has no options right now. I mean, I feel like they're just going to kind of ignore the fact that Tim owns this hardware store.
And he did mention it earlier.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, are they gonna what are they gonna do with that? Is that gonna be something that's covered in the next episode? Is he just gonna hold on to that, or
silent partner, sell it so they can move?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they did anything with that. But Tim has no prospects right now, so I don't know. It's just it's a weird dynamic, and it's definitely not a direct analog. Maybe they're trying to say, but
yeah, I mean. You got to imagine Tim would have some prospects pretty quickly if they had more than 2 days to decide, but
Right, it's true, yeah. Yeah, God forbid they have like a week to figure this out. They have like the guy's like, yeah, I need to know in 7 minutes, you know.
this is when it starts getting emotional to me right here. From this point on, because Wilson said, they're talking about Wilson and losing them as neighbors, and he says he never would want to lose them as neighbors, but you got to do what you got to do.
I wouldn't want to lose Wilson as a neighbor either. I like it. Tim says like something that I think is actually sort of true, in that it hit me a little bit, where it's like, he's like, I'm not just leaving Detroit, I'm leaving Barry Sanders, Grant Hill, Polish food, and like all these things. And I remember when I moved from Michigan, and I'm not sure that you are as sentimental as I am necessarily, so I'm not sure if you would have
I am
experienced
heartless. You're right.
when you move, but like it is like, it's sort of the things on the periphery that you miss as well. Like I don't know, like I miss Tim Hortons in Michigan.
Well,
like stuff like that.
Andrea and I, every time we go back, like we have the same 4 or 5 spots that we hit. Like we're always going to Mancino's and Big John's.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree that we, those are kind of the things we miss, and then obviously the relationships and being close to family and friends. So
sports wise, it's not as, like I said, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like
in fact,
now.
it's almost a positive, because now I don't have to watch the Lions anymore.
That's true. I still do. What's wrong with me? But yeah. All right, home. Pizza night. Tim has kind of just decided now that they're going. It's kind of funny. The boys don't really want to go. Shocker. Like, who would? Especially Brad.
Yeah.
Tim mentions Randy for the first time. He's like, well, we don't have to worry about Randy. He doesn't even want to leave Costa Rica. So,
it was kind of a shot. It was like, who cares about Randy?
Who cares what he thinks? This isn't his home anyways. Brad says that Tool Time was just starting to get good because of like the fighting and the wild atmosphere. I thought that was funny. He says, consider it. Brad's gonna go to college, so like it's not a big deal for him. Really, he's going to UCLA. Mark's like, I'm getting ready to start a new school. So Mark is still in middle school at this point.
When he said that, I was just like, what are we even talking about?
Maybe he only was 14. He's so big. He seems like such an adult. I don't know.
You're so big.
You're
sound
so
like
big,
an uncle.
Mark. Oh, he's so big.
I tried to reconcile it in my brain to be like, he's just excited to join another school. He can be like that movie, The New Guy, basically. Remake himself.
Definitely watched The New Guy at a birthday party of mine. Can't remember what year. I thought it was funny at the time, but
I don't know if I've actually seen more than like 15 minutes of it. So,
but you get the premise.
Is it DJ Qualls?
It's absolutely DJ Qualls, and he does reinvent himself successfully, I might add.
You know what? He was great in The Man in the High Castle. That's all I can say.
DJ Qualls. Yeah, I like him in. I think he was in some Fargo one of those seasons, but we're all crazy for Qualls here, obviously. Next podcast potentially.
Crazy for Qualls.
So Mark's gonna start a new school. Also, Mark has no friends, so it's
he's kind of down with whatever.
So Jill comes home, and everybody kind of agrees to do it. She doesn't want to drag them, but they want to go, so they're gonna do it, and that's that. Home improvement's over.
Adam, one positive thing about Indiana. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
They have a town named French Lick.
Oh, yeah. Larry Bird's hometown.
That's right. It's, the turnaround here, obviously, for Tim, going from totally against it to totally for it. Still not really having the conversation with Jill.
I would hate this. This would be a nightmare for me. Like, I would need time to process this and stuff. I don't know.
There's no time to process in this world.
Evidently not. Jeez-o Pete's, babe.
Jeez-o Pete's, babe. Yeah, no discussion needed. We're going. Final scene of part 1 here. Later, we're at home. They're basically setting up part 2, right? Tim needs to take Brad's car today.
Which was funny. I was like, at the time, like, what is this? What are we doing? Why is this important?
Because we're going to get the whole thing in part 2. But yeah, Tim needs to take Brad's car because Tim's car is in the shop. Going to drive them to school. Meanwhile, Jill is distracted, and we get the first flashback of many that we're going to see here with Tim and the boys wrestling on the floor. He says, do you have any second... Tim stays back for a second. He says, do you have any second thoughts? And nope. This is the day of Tim's last, so it's the next day, right? Because it's the day of Tim's last Tool time. So
assuming morning he's driving him off at school.
Jill says I will feel better once it's official, which she hasn't made the call and says like we're doing this basically yet. She hasn't accepted the job, but once there's some sort of finality and you feel like you can't go back, I guess that puts you on a different trajectory. And Tim heads off to the final Tool time. Jill takes one last look around the house. And we cut to be continued.
Well, you didn't say anything about the flashback to Tim and the boys wrestling.
I mentioned that a little bit earlier out of order.
Oh, sorry.
So,
okay.
But yeah, this is the flashback and then a to be continued. It's about to get emotional up in this place.
Yeah. Roll credits, fade to black, The Long and Winding Road, Part 1. Highs and lows. It's hard. It's really hard for this. Because it's like, it's not funny like at all.
No, these aren't going to be funny episodes, right?
Yeah.
Also, it's hard to judge this because it's like part 1 of 3, so it's not like.
I know.
Yeah.
I guess I would say, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because I don't really like what's happening. Like story wise, I'm not happy about this. This isn't, like I said, this isn't what people want out of a finale necessarily, but I guess you just got to take it at face value. It's lows.
Tim's flip flop is not great.
Lows
like you said,
sometimes
it feels like he hasn't learned anything.
Yeah, lows would be like a low would be that, like him immediately saying no and just like being unable, and then like the flip flop is just like kind of unearned. But I guess we don't have time. They just the sort of, it's all just so rushed, I guess. Like the lack of time here is crazy. Like they have to decide on these things so fast, and like they got to sell the kids, and Tool time is just sort of eroded.
They have to sell. Oh, okay. Sorry. When you said they have to sell the kids, I thought of like
they had to sell the idea to the kids. They are going to sell Mark. With the lack of money. With the lack of money Jill's making, they're just can't afford to have that extra mouth to feed. No, I mean, it's fine. I don't know. I'll tip my hat and say I probably favor the clip episode more. This episode is okay. They're getting where they need to go. I didn't enjoy it really. It's kind of sad. It's not particularly funny. Things feel rushed. But again, there's not anything that's overly offensive. Like, the Jerry Springer stuff is obviously, like, crazy and definitely of a different ilk, and hashtag not my Tool time and not my home improvement, but that's kind of the point, I guess. So, I mean, I'll give them credit. Like, they definitely made Tool time something that I would believe Tim wouldn't want to be a part of, because who would?
We don't want to be part of it.
Right, yeah.
That's one of the weirdest things about this to me is, like, there's a certain surrealism to that whole thing that's happening that I don't think this is how real life would work. Like, sure, maybe they would want to change the show, but would they change it into a Jerry Springer type show and, like, all this other stuff?
It's a little too satirical, I guess, or it's just, like, a little too on the nose. Like, I mean, I know that stuff was really popular and that Austin Powers 2 does that Jerry Springer like open, and that's around the same year as this, I think, maybe even the same year. And we're all just, as a society, we're loving that stuff, or it's really ripe for comedy. But yeah, like that's quite a turn for Tool time. Like, really quite a turn if you consider its humble roots and it's cooking with Irma and all that stuff. Like, you're right. Surreal is a good way to put it.
And it's like, no, we're not going to replace you with a show that's like this. We're going to make your show into this. Like, come on.
Yeah, that doesn't make a ton of sense, I guess. You're right. It's also just very much of the time. It's so funny. Like, I don't know what they would do now. Like, I guess they would, if they wanted to push Tim out now, they would just make the show like really like no studio audience, like film in front of a laptop, like really tech driven maybe. And he wouldn't like that. I just wonder how they would set that up now. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think removing the audience component of it, maybe making I was going to say like making all of the tools like crazy, but he kind of likes that. He likes the experimental stuff.
Yeah.
Restricting, we had this issue before, it was like restricting the budget and all this kind of stuff that didn't seem to last for more than three episodes. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it would look like, but I just don't think this makes a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't, Jordan, but, it's what we got. And the long and winding road, we seldom know what lies ahead unless we read the signs. You tracking that at all?
I mean, it doesn't seem to fit with this whole episode that I just watched, but...
Sure. All right, should we head to part 2?
Yeah, let's cruise on over to part 2. And...
Hey, listeners, grab your friggin' hankies.
You still got them. Want to start alternative titles?
Yeah, I do. I have 4. How many do you have?
3.
All right. The Long and Winding Road, part 2. This show is running out of gas.
Running on empty.
Hey, pretty good. How about a drive down memory lane?
I have cruising down memory lane.
Okay. Let's not get carried away.
Okay, I don't have that one.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I have boys under the hood.
Like that. How about shifting gears?
Great.
That's it.
Great. All right, we were kind of like minds there. There's not a lot to work with.
Well, yeah, they were in the car the whole
clips.
time, so it's like, yeah.
All right, so the show starts with a short, I guess not that short, actually. It's kind of
Pretty long.
Couple minutes.
I have a question for you before you get into it. Okay, so you know how we get the previously on Home Improvement? Did you hear that?
I mean, I heard you say it.
Did you hear it in the show?
I did.
Who says it?
I don't know.
It's not anybody on the show.
I mean...
It's like I listened to it twice. I was like, did Karin say that? Who says this? Who are they bringing in for this? It was
they just
some
hired someone on
rando.
Fiverr.com and had them do it.
It was weird. Like, usually when they do that, it's like a person that's in the show, but this was definitely not anyone I knew. I mean, maybe it was like a writer or director or something, but it was weird. Didn't like it.
Yeah, it did not strike any impression on me, so...
Well,
sorry.
really bothered me.
So there is a previously on segment where they're recapping the whole first episode, about 2 minutes long, and then they get into the car, and Brad is more depressed about his dad taking him to school than he is about the move, presumably because he's going to UCLA and he's going to be talking to the babes, right?
All those Cali beach babes, bruh.
Car is on empty, but Tim sees the empty sign as kind of a recommendation. He says he's got at least 10 more miles, enough to get to school and work. He tries to calculate like the distance between school and work, and Tim's never been much of a math whiz, and we see that here. And then the car stops, so I guess it wasn't quite a recommendation as much as what exactly was going on. And is that like the first... Did they go straight from the first memories there, or did they just go to the car again after that?
Cold open.
Okay.
And then back to the car.
Okay. I didn't write down cold open, so.
Question, how long before Brad flunks out of UCLA or gets, loses a scholarship because he's throwing rocks at the Hollywood sign or something, Couple weeks, or how long are we giving him?
There's a lot of leeway for certain athletes, and I think if he plays well enough, I think he'll be okay.
That's true. You can get away with a lot out there, yeah. All right, so that was a cold open. We pick it up. Car's running fine. Tim starts to get nostalgic, and it's... I'll just say now, I do like this clip show. I think they do a pretty good job.
This is one of the best clip shows I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, are you being serious?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with. Thank you for saying that, because I'm with you. It's effective.
It's very good, and I was shocked at how well it was done because they do it from a car every time.
Okay, you know what? I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I felt the same way, and I thought this is about as good as a clip show can be.
Agreed.
And I was shocked because I had very little faith in their ability to do so. I mean,
you were thinking back to Hamtramck and those pierogies or whatever from before, and
seriously, yeah, right, yeah, where he burps and falls asleep or something. It's like, I mean, it's still a clip show, so the lead-ins are a little bit cheesy, where it's like, you can see things coming for a mile away, where he'll be like, you boys sure are. I sure do like you boys. You boys have been through a lot. And then, we'll launch into, clips of the boys.
Montage.
Yeah, which is what we start with. And it begins with a great, great song.
Bad boys.
A lot of public domain songs until the end, when they do start paying for some stuff, which was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, it's just clips of the kids, and I was struck by how cute JTT was when he was young. Man,
So much Randy in the kids part too.
well, he was the best kid actor.
Right.
I also noticed Tim's voice has changed significantly over the course of the show, which is an interesting thing to have, for a grown man.
What's it like at the beginning? Because I did not take note of this.
A little higher.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit more joy in his voice.
Probably. His voice just gets deeper over time, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, bad boys.
You make me feel so good.
I wrote bad.
You've never heard
I
that
wrote-
song?
I have, but it's pretty corny. I wrote Bad Boys song, and then I looked at my notes and I was thinking the
Cop
Cop
song? They could have done that for Brad because they show his
They should have had a Brad Bad Boy montage alone.
They did show when he got in trouble a couple times, and we also recalled Randy's locker phase where he was just going in lockers all the time.
That was a weird phase. Yeah, it cuts in and out between the music, and they do play bits of dialogue and stuff too, which I think helps. It's not just all music. They do stop the
Right.
songs for that. I'll keep going because that was pretty short. Back to the car. Tim asks for change from the gas. Tim and Brad have a little argument over Tim filling up the tank. I don't know. Tim says something like, "If I had built this car, it would be better." And then we get a car montage.
Yeah. Well, Brad says if there's one thing Dad can do, it's build a car.
Right, okay, yeah. And then cue car montage. I didn't
My
know
least favorite montage, I think.
for sure. Yeah, I didn't care about this at all. What's the song? It's like Switchblade something.
Oh, I didn't know the song at all. I recognize
It was-
all the other ones pretty much, but not that one.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It was it again felt very public domain. Yeah, this is not super interesting.
The other ones I kind of took note on what they did or what scenes. This one I was just like, car montage, who cares?
It's pretty short too, so it's whatever.
Which is good. I'm glad they didn't spend so much time in the cars and more time with the people and the
Yeah,
relationships.
that's fair. Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan.
Back in the car, we're hungry. Mark is hungry. No one but Tim ate breakfast. He thought he was eating oatmeal, but it was scrambled eggs. Eesh.
Ooh.
Jill and her cooking.
Oh man, we can't finish the show without a couple more digs at that.
Well, and Brad makes a nice sexist joke here about wanting
Oh my
his...
god. The show doesn't even think it's sexist though, which is bad.
No, Tim says something.
Oh, okay. The song that they just played is called Switchblade 327. I just wanted to get
Sure.
the name. So
We've all heard Switchblade 327.
for all you Switchblade heads out there.
So Brad's statement is he wants to make sure his future wife proves that she's a good cook before
Yeah.
they get married. Tim says that's why you're going to be 80 and alone and hungry. So
Yeah, that's
You know.
that's a good roast.
Brad hasn't learned very much,
Yeah.
but hopefully he'll grow. And then we move on to a marriage montage between Tim and Jill, which is very sweet, I think.
It's a lot of fighting though, which is funny.
It's most of them kind of bickering and fighting, and Tim, ruining moods because he's farting or whatever.
I always get a kick out of that. That bed scene with him where she wants to have sex and he just had kielbasa is really funny.
And he's
It holds
ready
up,
to hop in and go
holds
at
up
it.
well, and he has to fan out the sheets. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's there, and then we go back to the car again, and they talk about how they might fight, but always someone apologizes, which is Tim. And they have a helper to keep their marriage in check, and that's Wilson. And we get a Wilson montage. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good moments here with Wilson. I didn't write down a lot of them here, but we've built segments out of Wilson. Wilsometer.
Yeah.
We've done clips. He's a big part of our show as well, so it's sad. It's sad to see Wilson montage.
Yeah, and when you see the montage, I don't know. I think the Wilson stuff is hard because I do think at a certain point, they just kind of ran out of stuff to say and do and kind of ways to have him interact. But, at its heart, it's one of the best parts of the show, if not the best part of the show, is that kind of relationship and dynamic. So it was a nice reminder of that because I maybe have started to sort of take it for granted over the years.
You were starting to sour.
I mean,
This is what this montage episode did for me. Is
Yeah.
I was starting to get a little cynical, and then
Sure.
they started to play this stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, there were parts of the show that we really loved.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's what that's what it was supposed to do, so it was effective. I mean, yeah, I'm just like thinking about, I don't know, some of the stuff they did with Wilson the last couple of years has been kind of,
Right.
not so great. But I'll pick back up. So back to the car. Tim gets honked at. He thinks he's being recognized, which was kind of funny. And guy gave him the finger. And then he kind of launches into a thing about his Tool Time celebrity, which leads to a Tool Time montage, which is just a variation of the regular Tool Time song. I had a realization here, Jordan, and something I wanna circle back on, because this is something we talked about very early on in the show.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what this is.
I think earlier in the show, we started the show, maybe I was perhaps a little pretentious, highbrow, and I maybe gave you some trouble about the head being glued to the table.
Oh, the old table gag.
I'm coming around on it, Jordan, and I gotta say, it's funny.
It's
funny. I was wrong,
good.
and that, if that's not emotional growth over 4 years, I don't know what is. I enjoyed seeing it. I thought it was funny. I think it's good acting, and you were right, I was wrong.
I was
There
so
you go.
pleased to see it in this montage.
Yeah.
I will say that. There's some grunting here as well, and lots of accidents. Another staple of the show, and so it's good to see all these here. I'm glad to hear you've come around. Yeah, you used to be pretty academic, as one of our listeners pointed out, and it's great you've come down to my level, Adam.
It's true, yeah. I guess it's just you've sort of rubbed off on me.
The common man.
Salt of the earth, Jordan. Blue collar lions. All right. Car.
Back in the car. One good thing about Tool Time: no more accidents.
right.
And Tim says, "Wait a minute, I still have a house that I can blow things up on," and this is when we get Chumbawamba.
Oh, Tub Thumper, baby! I was shocked.
It kicked it up a notch.
You talk about product of the times. This is it, but this is the perfect song for this. Honestly,
It really was.
it really is. I was kind of nodding my head. I was like, yeah, this is pretty sweet.
I was into it for sure. And then there's, a bunch of accidents at home montage.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna go and rewatch the whole series again, but I've never been closer to wanting to.
Yeah, it's a really good clip show. It kind of made me want to go back and watch the first season. You know?
Well, we've got bad audio to fix, so
That's true, maybe. Yeah, that might be something. Something I want to say that we skipped earlier is just okay, so the Tool Time montage ends with that house explosion, and then there's fire in the car. Did you notice that?
I did. Yeah, it was the strangest of the green screen effects we had going on.
Did you notice the mountains in the car, in the windows?
They must have traveled across the country to get to that school.
I noticed mountains a couple times where it's wow, is Brad already going to UCLA? Is that what this drive is?
Good call.
All right. Brad drops the boys off. Nope. Tim drops the boys off. Tells him he loves him. He says, "I love you. You're such good boys." And Brad gives him the gas money back that he tries to pocket earlier. It's pretty funny. Get some mountains in the background here again, so that was pretty good. Brad's going to Rocky Mountain High, apparently.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great place. This is the weirdest montage, right?
And then it's just kind of a general memories montage with an original Kenny Rogers song that he wrote for this episode called "We've Got It All."
Wow, it was
Isn't
it was pretty sappy, and it was Kenny Rogers at his best.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the montage, I was, every montage before this has a theme, so I was like, what's happening? Because we go from the vasectomy to some sexy moments to
It's
some
whatever they
sweet
couldn't
moments.
categorize earlier, I guess.
Right. Yeah, this is the miscellaneous montage.
I don't know. The song is I don't know. It's super sappy, but this is where it really got me. And it's probably because I sensed the episode was ending, and I was like, oh
Sure.
no. But yeah, isn't it so wild that Kenny Rogers did an original song for the ending of Home? I don't know. That's really something.
Tim had to
I
call in
didn't-
some favors.
Didn't know that. It's yeah, Kenny, it's John Pasquin. Yeah, hey, gonna need one of your OGs for our clip show. Yeah, we're doing our clip show soon, right? Yeah, just
Pro bono.
dust. Yeah, we're not gonna pay you for it. Nope. Yeah, I know we pay Tim Allen $30 million a year. Yeah, we're not gonna pay you any of that. Okay, all right, bye. But yeah,
it is. It's emotional. It's sappy, and it doesn't get any better because the final scene here is back in the car. Tim has now arrived at the Tool Time lot, and he goes in and he's like, here we go. Last show.
Yeah. Wow. And that's it. Roll credits, fade to black on The Long and Winding Road, Part 2. Wow, Jordan. It's a heck of a clip show. And, we kind of been saying that throughout and said it before, but it's really good.
It's like we've mentioned, one of the best clip shows I can ever remember. So.
Yeah, it's so much better than the clip show they did midway through. And
yes.
Yeah, it's just a really effective, they tie it into, what's happening. Usually the buffers are so bad on clip shows where it's I don't know, it just feels like it's so contrived and forced, whereas this felt pretty natural. I think the writing was good and they tied it in well, and the car ride was, they didn't lean into that any more than they needed to. And yeah, it just reminds you of what you liked about the show, how good the show could be. You get pretty much every angle. I couldn't think of a montage. I mean, I was trying to think of montages I would have liked that I didn't get.
The McGurn montage, maybe?
Yeah, I think Brad being a bad boy would have been a funny montage, like we said.
Wouldn't have really fit in as much as the others, but yeah.
I would have liked a name montage where it's just different names of people that they made up, like the McGurns, Stu, I don't know, Tino and Forche.
One montage I guess they missed, and I guess maybe they're putting it in with the Tool Time montage, is the Al and Tim relationship.
You're right. That is a good one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, buddies. I wish they would have done a scary montage and a Christmas montage. I know at a certain point you run out of time, but there's a lot of good scares they could have done.
Yeah, they threw in a couple of Christmas moments too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't.
Right.
They don't do that. So yeah, there's a couple they could have added, but they fit in what they needed to fit in their 21 minute, 22 minute window. I think maybe what helps compared to the earlier clip show is just Tim talking to himself, and this one he's kind of having a conversation with his boys. So.
And wasn't that only Tool Time pratfalls? The earlier clip show? Isn't he watching Tool Time tapes and it's just Tool Time mishaps?
I guess so, yeah.
I think so, yeah. So, obviously this is going to be better. What's your favorite?
Favorite montage? Count me a sucker for the kids montage as a dad who's watching her daughter grow up so fast in just a couple years. It's just I know I'm gonna be there.
Sure, right.
And so I'm a sucker for those. But yeah, they're all good, really.
I say Boys or the Wilson one I liked a lot as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't have any negative to say about this. I thought it was really, really good. I think they did a good job. So
even the weird green screen stuff was just kind of funny. It wasn't
yeah, it doesn't bother me. What are they? Yeah. I mean, would it have been better if they didn't have mountains? Probably, but what are you gonna do? I don't know.
It wasn't distracting or anything.
Yeah, so. Right. So that's that. Wow.
Part 1 and Part 2 are in the books. We should hear from our fans. Do our fans have anything to say on Twitter? I told you earlier we don't have much on YouTube to share, but I'm not going to belabor the point because people have a limited amount of time to reach out to us. So
that's true. Yeah.
What's going on Twitter?
We're recording this pretty early, so not a lot has changed since the last time around. I have some polls that are ongoing. I'll just share those polls now. Sure, let's do it. Did the ending of Home Improvement feel rushed? 26 total votes. I mean, it's like I said, it's ongoing, but I'm just going to share it now. What do you think the answer was, Jordan?
Yeah, I think so.
61% said, 61.5% said yes, 38.5% said no. All right, and this is in relation to us recording our 200th episode. What's most impressive? Options are bowling a 200, doing 200 podcast episodes, bench pressing 200 pounds, or weighing 200 pounds.
I gotta say, you really weighed that in our favor.
What do you think people said?
I hope they said podcast, because all those other ones are not that crazy.
40% said benching 200 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
33.3% said doing 200 podcast episodes.
Bunch of meatheads.
And then tied for third and fourth, or third respectively, bowling a 200 and weighing 200 pounds. Weighing 200 pounds is, it seems super impressive, but yeah, so that's ongoing. It could change, and it better change for our favor, because that's obviously the hardest thing, is doing 200 podcast episodes.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like one of those polls that you did where you threw in Wilson and he was obviously the choice.
Yeah.
And it's just not working out that way. So I'm concerned for our listeners.
They really value bench max, I guess.
Talk about
that's
the
all I got,
biceps
though.
on that guy.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, obviously, the next episode we're going to be talking about the series finale, Long and Winding Road Part 3, and then Backstage Pass, I guess. Or do you want to do the season summation with that one and then let's
do we'll do Long and Winding Road Part 3 and then season and summation, and then we'll do Backstage Pass with series and summation.
Oh man.
And then we're done.
It's getting then we're just out.
And then we're done. 2 episodes left, one official Home Podcast episode and then one to wrap everything up. And Jordan, it's getting emotional on the show and behind the scenes.
Ooh. Waterworks. I've got tissues all around me.
It feels strange. I won't say it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's. I knew it was coming for a long time, and now here we are, and it's bittersweet. I'll say that. But we're not done yet, Jordan.
We're not done yet. It's about the journey, not the destination, as well.
There's always going to be another mountain. I'm always going to want to make it move. So, Miley Cyrus. And what did I say earlier?
What a way to end a podcast.
The Edmund Hillary of Home Improvement Podcast. So I'll go out on those uplifting notes. Jordan, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening, and I guess I should say, take care.
Take care, everybody.